Hey guys, it's Rodney, and today we're going to talk a little bit about a new partnership we had that allowed us to create this new cutting board. But first, I want to give a huge shout out to Lowe's online pickup. It was so easy, so fast, and so convenient. As creators, you guys know it is super important what tools we have. And our new partnership with Lowe's.com allowed us to pick up our new WEN bandsaw and planer. I was so excited to finally have a bandsaw and a really nice planer. WEN Tools is a pretty awesome company. All of their tools are very simple and easy to use. Their tagline is, remember when. And basically the goal here is just keep the tool really simple and easy to use. And you can see my excitement there. These tools are going to make it so much easier for us to create as well as build a lot safer. It's also going to really help us boost our Etsy shop. So we were super grateful to Lowe's for helping us out. The instructions for assembly were really easy to read, super simple, and I was just following along step by step to make sure everything was assembled and tightened correctly and in the place that it needed to be. It did suggest using a speed square just to make sure that your 0 point is actually 0 and things are nice and square at 90 degrees. How clean. Okay, so obviously really excited about the bandsaw, but let's talk about this 13-inch planer. WEN has made an easy and amazing to use product here. It's also got a spiral cutting blade, which if you've ever used a planer, the spiral cutting blade is really the way to go. It's the way you're gonna get the nicest, cleanest cut with any hardwoods. And most of the time when we're using a planer, we're using them for things like our cutting boards and coasters. So a smooth, clean, nice cut the first time is gonna be really important. So let's walk you through how we made this cutting board with our new WEN tools. Once we had run the base through the planer, we just needed to square up our edges to get us prepped for cutting our slices. And since we're doing an inch thick cutting board here, we're cutting about 1.25 inches thickness for our strips here. This will allow us to run it back through the planer after our second glue. And I still think that the second glue up when you're creating a cutting board that's any sort of pattern like a checkerboard, etc., it's always the most satisfying part when you start to see that pattern together here. So once you get all your pieces lined up, you're going to then flip every other, get those guys coordinated, make sure you got nice at least one square side. It's going to just save you a lot of material in the long run. And then you're going to fold those back down on the face grain so that you can get everything glued up and nice and tight. And then once you've got your glue and everything lined up, I like to leave them at least overnight for a day to glue so they are nice and sturdy, and then you can remove your clamps and begin the second planing process. And I had said earlier that this planer is so easy to use. This is a 13-inch WEN planer, and the adjustable depth knob at the top here, which you see me adjusting there, you can do anything from 0 to 1/8 of an inch. But when you're using hardwoods, to keep a nice smooth cut with no splintering, would definitely suggest only about 1/8 or 1/4 inch of a turn at a time. So you're only taking off about a 64th or a 16th of an inch at a time to make sure that you've got a nice smooth finish. And then we're gonna bring it back over to the table saw to get everything squared up one last time. That final glue up, things can always get a little wonky or a little off on you, so you do wanna make sure that you make one final pass to get everything nice and square. Now, this next step was new for me. I decided I was going to do a fold over edge, so I brought it back over to the WEN 9-inch bandsaw to cut a 45-degree angle that I could then flip and rotate to basically create a bend over the countertop to give a nice hold. This cutting board is going to be used a lot for a lot of the bread making and things of that nature that we've got into. So the edge here that's going to fold over the countertop lip is what's going to give you a nice grip to the countertop itself. And with another spray bottle from our friends over at Lowe's, we're going to mist it a little bit with water, let that soak in to raise the grain in between each sanding. We started with about a 120 grit, and I believe on this board I ended around a 400 grit, I want to say. But you want to give a little dusting in between each. You can see me here kind of spreading the water to make sure that it's going to saturate into the wood evenly. And then once that's dried up, you can then go ahead and start your sanding. And once the branding's done, just one last final sand to clean that up. And then you're going to start with your finish. You're going to want to use a cutting board oil or conditioner here. And this is what's really going to help that wood pop and those colors really start to come to life. And again, guys, we want to give a huge shout out to our friends over at Lowe's that really helped us out with this project. Go to lowes.com and look for WEN Tools. That's WEN. And if you haven't already, make sure to check out rodneyandjake.com to see blogs and other posts, as well as check out the Etsy shop. It's etsy.com/shop/rodneyswood. We hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you guys next time.